trade rumors. Falcons want to trade Julio Jones.
Yeah, they've been wanting to do that.
Yeah, that's been
this time I ever saw it.
Yeah, it's been kind of hush hush. Some of the guys that follow the draft and free agencies have brought it up, but because there hasn't been any official chatter, they've kind of, I mean, it's there, but it hasn't been really mainstream yet.
Oh, one of the guys made a joke at work. They were talking about the ranking of the quarterback. They say Deshaun Watson's not even going to play this year, and he's still ranked in the top 10.
Right?
That was good. That's damn good.
It's like, I was like, oh my God. I say, what?
You see how he was doing that workout?
And I saw something that say he posted his workout videos or whatever.
Yeah. You know, that's actually good, I think, because he's showing that, hey, look, I'm not worried about all this flim-flam shit. Let me just keep on pushing.
Yeah.
That's what it really looks like to me. I mean, and he should be doing that because it's not this what's going on with him shouldn't soften him up. Oh no, let me stay in the background. I'm not gonna show up to practice. I'm not gonna show up. You know,
if he plans on sitting out, he's not gonna show up. If he shows up for training camp, that means he's expecting to play.
Yeah,
he's expecting to play.
Well, I mean, and let's get realistic as far as the whole Texas acquiring more QBs. They're just covering their base.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah.
But like you went and got Finley. I don't even think Finley's played a down in the last 4 years.
It also says right here they got Driscoll with his 1 year. Yeah,
you can plug him in, and then you have to ask that question: when are you going to test to see what Mills has? You know, that's
at some point.
At some point, you got to test him and see what he got. I would say,
and the sad thing is, do you really want to test him on this offensive line? It's still atrocious. They haven't really done anything in the free agency yet for that.
I don't think they picked up anybody. They just signed.
They didn't get anybody in.
The other tackle, Howard.
Yeah, that's
the
it.
Rookie last year, they upped his contract a little bit.
So,
that's about it.
I guess AB still must pass a physical before signing deal. Is that Antonio Brown?
Yeah.
So is there a question on that? I mean, I thought he was fit to get ready to go.
I don't think he's mentally fit
well,
anymore.
No.
Hey, how many other NFL players fit that very description?
Wow.
Here's a good one. Bills tab 4 women for new coaching and staff roles. You know, that whole diversity thing moving its way into the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And look, and of course, you know me. Hey, if they can do it and they come up with some good, things for the offensive or defensive or whatever. I mean, if they come up with good ideas for their position, I'm all for it.
You know, I don't want to sit back and say that's pretty far fetched, but I mean, women do.
That is an aggressive move, though.
Rights, but that is aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, not yet.
Well, I mean,
like you look
it's only aggressive in the realm of if you take a look, where do they typically get their staff members from? They typically get them from college.
Yeah.
And so, and just like, in high school, you might find a high school female coach here and there, but they're far and few between.
And see, my thing is
to get somebody that's seasoned enough to be successful in the NFL.
If you got female commentators, you can have female coaches, I think.
Well, yeah.
I don't see why they brain said it's
well, I'm not saying that, but I understand that, but like I said, typically you get your shot at the NFL because of the legacy that you put in. That means you put in your time in high school, you put in your time as a college coach, you put in your time as coordinators and special teams and whatever else you needed to do to get that chance. I think
that's what they're going to be doing.
I mean. The fact that women in general don't pursue these kind of jobs, I like the fact that they're doing it. I'm just hoping that it's not a stunt. I'm hoping that these women are actually good at their job.
You look at if you look at the NBA, it's like you have all these male coaches, but these females have played basketball also.
Yeah.
And like you take Cheryl Miller for example.
Well, yeah, and
one of the best.
Wasn't she part of the WNBA?
Yes, she was a WNBA.
So I mean, yeah.
So like you have female and male coaches in the WNBA, but you only have male coaches in the NBA.
Yeah.
And like in the NFL, you got some coaches that never played football before.
And that's true. I mean, well, look, there's been a long standing of basketball coaches in high school that have never played. They just love the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and even in football, you have some football coaches that have never played. They just study the game. So, granted, do I think that by playing the game you bring a certain element of understanding and wisdom to it? Absolutely. But if you're a true student of the game, then I don't believe.
I don't think you need to play the coach.
No, but I do think that you should have a history of a coach. To be able to get promoted into the NFL.
Be a better general managers than some of these dudes.
There you go with that there.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
When it comes, I mean, look, I think everybody has their biases. I mean, everybody does. You have certain people that you resonate with. You have certain people that you just irritate you on multiple levels. I mean, I think everybody has examples from their own lives of, whether it's friends, family, or coworkers that it's like, dude, you're fucking cool. Let's go hang out. And it's like, dude, you work at that desk over there.
I had to tell the guy today at work. I say, dude, it's not that serious. Shut the fuck up and just do your job.
Right. Right. So I mean, you have that, and so when you become a manager, and unfortunately this is the cliche, when you become a manager and you get a little bit more say over how things are done, procedures, and hiring process. Who are you going to hire? Are you going to hire the guy that's like, yeah, this guy feels like he'll fit? Or are you going to hire the guy that's got the credentials but he's given that vibe of, when's lunch? I mean,
if you come to a job interview and the first thing you ask is, so what time is lunch? You don't need.
Or hey, does this come with a good benefits package?
How many breaks do we get a day? Yeah, right.
Do we clock in and out for the breaks, or do we is that on your honor?
Yeah, it's on the honor system, It's just, but like when you come to football, female coaches football. I mean, I don't see a problem with it. Can't.
Quite frankly,
but like you said, it does have to go to that. What's your experience? What do you?
And I know that some people, if they just watch a snippet of my banter, they're going to say he's a misogynist, which is definitely by far not even possible.
Can you guys? We're not being
he is.
We're not
ladies,
being sexist
right there.
Or anything.
But I mean, massage you.
Can you guys?
He'll rub your feet.
No, not that.
That's right, baby.
Can you
rub those feet?
Can you guys see women playing in MLB?
Major League Baseball?
No.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
because it's like set. They have their own thing. Softball.
They do.
Men have baseball. Men have men's basketball. Ladies have ladies.
WNBA. Why are you slamming your hand on?
But I mean, the football.
Stop. See, that's why I say you keep doing this. Stop doing that.
The football aspect. It's not. No,
I mean, why would you want to compete against women? That's my whole point. Like, what's the interest? Because you have to think about it. In any of these sports, we're physically superior. Period. It's just what it is. So it doesn't matter how much she can train all her life.
I don't think I've seen a female sumo. So
I mean, as women, they could train all their lives, and still the average dude can still somewhat compete with them. Mm-hmm. So if you have a top athlete here, and then you have a top athlete football player, a woman athlete football player over here, and let's say she's playing linebacker and I'm playing running back, you're trucking her. So what was the point?
Yeah.
And she can know all the positions. She can know all the tells and all that stuff, but you're knocking her out.
What was that movie? Necessary Roughness, when they had the female kicker.
Oh, the kicker. Yeah, Necessary Roughness.
Knocked her down, and he said, "Welcome to football," and she kicked him in the balls. So that might actually happen in the game. So no.
Right, but then if she kicks him in the balls, then what's the punishment for her? Is it
because she's banned from the league?
Well, I mean, that is an ejection, is it not?
That's
I mean,
an ejection.
Yeah, but
that's rough. Unnecessary roughness.
Unnecessary roughness.
First offense is what?
Oh, I don't know.
That's not even.
I mean, what's the game suspension? I'm saying, what's the game?
It should be the same thing NFL other players, like when Myles Garrett took off Mason Rudolph's helmet and hit him with it. When Ndamukong Suh stepped on it's the same penalties you get.
Yep.
Ejection.
Yep. And what is it? Half season suspension, or if not the whole season?
Okay, what's the shower?
I do have to say this banter's pretty good, but is this gonna be YouTube worthy?
I'm just asking the shower room separate.
I don't even know.
Because we're keeping it clean, man. But it's legitimate questions.
Well, we're kind of womanizing a little bit. So we kind of demonize ourselves before we get.
But look, people, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to put this out right here. We are just nothing more than fellow fans, and yes, sometimes we might get a little crude, rude.
But we think inside the box.
But I think we're bringing up valid points of talking.
Yeah,
and we need. It's discussions that are going to be happening around
especially once you bring female
the sport.
In, you're going to have females have already wanted to play football. professional football, but you can't be
Yeah,
realistically thinking that you can physically keep up. With.
I don't know. I've met a few women that are bigger than me that could probably push around a lineman or two.
But the linemen are bigger than you too. That they're going to be pushing.
Didn't have a women's league.
Yeah, they have one.
Yeah, but is the lingerie league real? I mean,
Look, it's real enough for me. That is real.
Does your wife know about that
to make
subscription?
make the guys out there
You
get
plead
a
the fifth
rise
on
out
this
of
show.
watching it.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what
gonna
that
go that route.
You know, I tried to watch one.
It's like going to Hooters.
I literally tried to watch one of the lingerie games and I fell asleep. But like not even 5 minutes
I-
into the game.
I haven't even watched the game.
It was-
I saw an advertisement, and I think it was on an ESPN channel that I didn't get.
It wasn't even worth it, dude. It was not.
I watched the game. Sorry.
The whole game?
He would watch the whole game. He was critiquing it. He had stats.
Yes, I did.
Oh my god.
Yes, I did.
All right. Well, hey, I never got around to posting that long dissertation that we had after Kendall left. I figured now would be a good time to kind of maybe revamp that and bring that up.
Dude,
What did I
I
do?
do remember that long dissertation.
Oh, come on. When we were talking about the different, things that we were thinking about using to generate our own QB rating.
Oh shit! Damn it!
And you forgot.
No, yeah, I did. Like I
Yeah,
said,
you
I've
went
been
for
working too many hours. Damn it. And I actually did want to get into that.
So when was this?
Did you
Oh,
have-
it was right
no,
after.
You wrote it down. You
Well,
wrote
I
something
mean,
down.
I wrote some of it down.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'll jog my memory a little bit.
Is this tonight or?
I don't know.
last
I don't know if
week?
it's on this one though. I mean,
After Kendall left,
But,
Kendall wasn't informed about it.
Hey, dude, it's your fault you left.
Uh,
I gotta go home. I gotta get
Hey, I'm
work
being a
in the
responsible
morning.
grown man.
Um,
And then you hear that.
So,
all
so
day.
just to kind of recap, one thing that we agree on, that the QBR doesn't seem to be. I mean, it is a rating. They try to use the stats of the players, but I do not think, and this is my point, I do not think that it's fair in the relation of who are they facing. There needs to be some way of accounting for a tougher defense to a weaker defense. That way, if Brady's ripping apart the Jacksonville Jaguars and he gets a bomb-ass rating, then, he's Brady and he ripped apart a subpar defense. Well, why isn't this rookie who normally puts up good numbers, but against a really good defense, puts up his mediocre numbers? I mean, at that point in time, we need to have something to reflect
What was the game last
who he was
year?
playing.
What was the game last year? Like, was it Cleveland and the Ravens? What Cleveland, Baker Mayfield told either the Ravens or Pittsburgh?
that
What
shit up.
tore them apart.
I don't remember, and we would have to look that up. I mean, that is a valid
the,
point.
The Browns beat the Ravens. What was it, 43-7 or
Yeah,
something
it was,
like
I mean,
that?
it was a
blowout.
massacre.
It was a blowout.
And the Ravens had a pretty solid defense. And
Oh, they
Baker
do.
Mayfield ripped them apart. So
Baker Mayfield
I'm like,
here
how do you rank him versus Tom Brady beating Dallas?
Exactly, and that's my point. So, so maybe that's something that you people out there that follow us could help us with. Give us some examples of maybe how you would maybe rate the defense and how would you factor that into the equation? Because right now we know that they use in their QBR passing yards divided by attempts. To get that average yard, and then of course completions versus attempts, all that kind of thing.
And you also have like the
touchdowns versus interceptions. I mean, if you want to know exactly what goes into the QBR that the NFL uses, there's plenty of websites. You just have to Google it, and as a matter of fact, they even have the calculation where all you got to do is copy it and paste it into an Excel file. So
And there was one we did talk about, like if you throw a wide receiver screen, he runs it 99 yards for a touchdown. And the quarterback gets
how do you factor the yards after catch? Because granted,
they go to the
they often
also.
go to the quarterback stats, but when it comes to the QBR, should that be a factor? I think that should be looked at because if you have some badass receivers that get you,
you just happen to have some good blocking and a receiver that just outran everybody to the end zone. And
Yep.
you get 99 yards on your.
So
QBR.
should he have gotten the 20 to 25, or should he get credit for the whole 40?
Should get to the 10, and then
Right.
the rest of it's on the quarter.
Well, I mean, wherever he caught the ball should be attributed to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Everything else should be attributed to the wide receiver.
That's what I think.
I think that's fair because then
the wide receiver is the one that put in the work.
Yeah. I mean, now you're in, then the reverse is also the same. If you throw a Hail Mary and hit your guy,
Yeah.
then you get credit for all those yards.
Because you threw it down there. He caught it.
He caught it.
It's like the play Chuck uses in Madden. That running back screen.
So in this
for 50 yards.
in this journey that we're going to try to take here before preseason, try to figure out our rating, we may stumble into a pretty good formula to pick winners.
Yeah, but
I mean, think
still-
about it. If we're finding these little things
Not
to
a
rate the
bad
QB and then to like taking in their weapons into consideration, like the receivers and the tight ends, the running game, and then of course at the same time try to find these factors of the defense.
Yeah, like, are you playing like against? Okay, you remember who was it? Eli Manning, that front four of the New York Giants at the time. It was like the most dominant front four. Pierre Paul.
Oh, yeah.
all them guys,
Yeah.
right. And you're going up against them, and the same thing go with running backs. If you can get past these four,
Yeah.
you're
And that's really where a lot of people misunderstand. That's where your offensive line comes in. They're the ones that get those initial halts. When those running backs can get past that first line and get to the linebacker core, that's where they thrive, and that's where you can get that guaranteed 3-4 yards, maybe more if you break a tackle.
And if that fullback kicked out that middle linebacker, you can go pretty far. So that running back is the same thing with a quarterback. Like if a quarterback draw and he runs like what was the one that's in that was in New York? He kept making those big runs.
Saquon Barkley?
No. The quarterback.
Daniel Jones?
Was it Daniel Jones or the one in New York? New York Jets, New York Giants. It was one of the quarterbacks. He kept running.
Kept running?
Daniel
He
Jones.
ran 2 touchdowns. He ran on the quarterback draws. He ran 2 touchdowns, 2 long touchdowns. I don't know if it was the Giants or the Jets. I know it was one of those quarterbacks.
Well, so either Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold is what you're
It
saying.
was one of them two. I think it was Daniel.
I don't know who he's
No,
talking about.
Daniel Jones had 2 big runs, but they weren't for touchdowns.
Yeah, they weren't. Yeah.
If you look at them, if you pull
No,
it
no,
up,
I'm
I
sorry.
guarantee they were for
No,
touchdowns.
he had one where they were like 12 yards out, and he ran out and
got the first
he
down.
He got the
Yeah.
touchdown on that one.
He
at the goal
he
line.
ran a long run for a
Right,
touchdown.
but he didn't. He tripped on his own feet.
No, he made it in the end zone. He ran it in for the touchdown. I guarantee you. I watched that thing over and over again. He ran one of those 2 quarterbacks ran.
I'm letting you know.
80. I think it was an 80 or 70-something yard.
It was
run.
Daniel Jones, but he tripped at near the end zone. He tripped and fell.
Yeah, because then they had to use their running back or a tight end slant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he tripped and fell. He was running. He beat everybody, and he just fell on his own 2 feet.
That wasn't staged either.
That sounded like
No,
my high
no,
school
no,
running
no,
back
he
Carlos
just cut-
Weiss. He would break these long
But
runs.
he
He'd
did
be
it
like
twice,
5 yards
though.
for the end zone and trip and fall every freaking time. We used to say Joe Kelly Butler's ghost was out there
Oh
tackling.
my god.
Had the most yards rushing in the state. Over 3,000 yards rushing in the state. They had like 5 touchdowns.
I'm trying to find it.
I feel play this dog on video.
What bit? Why are you?
No
Why are you
help,
distracted?
no help.
You found it.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
what play it is. He's talking about this one. He's running. He beat the defense, and he's gonna fall. He fell.
Yeah, that's acting right
I
there.
thought it was 2 of them. It was 2 of them. Because one of them, he was in blue. The other
And see, and that was the run that won his offense over right there.
Yeah. I mean, he was actually surprisingly faster than what we thought he was. Yeah, I mean, he burnt the safeties, the corners. He was
He went
gone.
all the way in the end zone.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah, see?
and that just goes to
See,
show
he
you
just
they
burnt all
don't,
of
they
them.
don't give
you're
him any
right,
credit.
You're right. It was just,
Anyway.
I could have sworn it was more. I thought he made.
But the thing is, he's not used to running. He got tired.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where he got tired, and he just fell.
I mean, guys,
That was the 80-yard.
Yeah.
we gotta look at when it comes to the quarterbacks now. Now the newly groomed ones, and I'm talking about the rookies most definitely. The rookies now that are trying to replace the veterans. What are they willing to do to make points get put on the board?
Well, I mean, any
Scramble.
any
Pass
QB worth
versus-
their salt
Well,
is going to find ways of extending the play. I mean, that was what Russell Wilson basically cut his teeth on.
yeah. Well,
He knew how to scramble in that backfield, extend the play, and throw downfield.
Right.
But that's what Mahomes and Watson and all these.
That's what all these younger-
Well, what's the guy in
He
San
can
Diego?
run and he
Hubert?
can
He
throw.
does
Hubert.
a lot, too.
Yes, he does.
These guys, right now, they come out of college. They got these fresh young legs. They used to running around and scrambling and making plays.
And see,
the older system was stay in the pocket and throw the ball.
Well, and that was the
Tom
old
Brady.
school. That was the old school mentality,
Yeah, I like
right?
Tom Brady.
You protect your QB,
But
give
you
him
don't
time to
have to
throw.
run.
Well, the flip side of that is that he has to do his progressions quickly. These receivers need to get open quickly, and unfortunately, they are not matching that up with the with the plays nowadays. The only one that was successful with getting that going was, obviously Belichick and a few other head coaches. I want to say, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Ryan.
But even Aaron Rodgers was good at scrambling.
He'd scramble when he had.
Yeah, and Matthew Ryan, Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
So these guys, they may take a little time in the pocket, but man, when they go to throw, it's quick, it's lightning, and they're released. And even Phillip Rivers had a really quick release, not as quick as.
And it's so unorthodox too.
Yeah.
It's a cool ass throw. Don't get me wrong, but
he had a little bit of
weird. It's weird coming out like that. You think it ain't got no zip on it, but it does.
And it's a little bit of a side action, kind of like Mahomes.
It's kind of a sidearm throw.
But
I did find the other one. It was a 34-yard run.
34-yard for a touchdown.
He ran it. That's
that was one.
About.
Yeah,
he did run
that's the one I was telling you, where he faked it up.
That's what I say. It was designed run for the quarterback.
That's the one I was talking about.
So when we go back to what he's saying about that, that's a prime example.
Yeah,
that is a prime example.
Well, I mean, to me, that's a good sign of a leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Look, when he saw the opening, he's taking his team and putting them on his back and he's running.
Right.
But the problem is that what does that do? That puts him at risk.
A lot of risk.
You don't want. I mean, you want that out of your QB, but you don't want to go to the extreme of, you want that from him all times. Yeah. No, you want him to protect the ball. You want it to get downfield. You want him to be methodical.
Well, that's like Lamar. Okay, that's basically Lamar Jackson's problem. We know you can run the ball. You look for your first or second option, so
and then he runs.
Boom, running instead of going to the third or fourth option.
Yep.
So you have your pocket quarterback, and you got your screen. Oh, I'm a quarterback. I want to throw the ball, but then the first thing you do is what? Take off running. So you can't get your first read, boom, you're gone. But you just keep saying, I'm a quarterback. No,
but look, I think Lamar, if I'm not mistaken, that last year was second year in Lamar.
Second
so right now, so we always hear about the sophomore slump, right? It's always the second year. Why? Because now they have footage. Yeah. That's the cliche. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he bounces back this year. Because really, when it comes down to rookie QBs, it's their third year and on that determines where they're at.
I believe he has two choices to go. RG3.
Yeah.
Or Lamar Jackson.
Right.
And he got the arm.
Oh, yeah.
He's still healthy. He ain't got no injuries like RG3 did, but his career could go that way if that one injury happens.
Yeah. So anyway, other ideas, please submit them in the comments below about what we should look for in the QBR rating and how should we use the defense as a factor. Because I was thinking maybe using the defense, if it's a stronger defense, using a percentage. Or a multiplier. The tougher the defense, the higher the multiplier.
Yeah. The weaker the defense,
the less nothing. Of a multiplier. Yeah.
If you playing against,
if
you playing against the Jets, you get nothing.
Right.
Whatever you put out there, that's what you get. And now if you playing against somebody like Baltimore or Pittsburgh or even the Patriots defense, you get some money. You get some points. Dude, how many times? Oh, okay. I'm gonna give you one better. If you playing against the San Francisco 49ers, healthy defense.
Yeah, healthy defense. So then, we'd have to mark the marquee defensive players on the defense. And if there's an injury report, we would have to take that into consideration.
Take that into consideration. Like last year, they didn't hold starting.
Well, I guess the one saving grace in this is that we would be able to look at it from the game is done. What should we factor in this game?
Or what about since we're talking about defenses? So some defenses run like a disguise or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or let's say I'll use the Patriots for example. Let's say they're going against a mobile quarterback. They're going to do contain. So if he can no longer run, wouldn't we factor something like that in too?
Oh, exactly. I mean that's game planning. Yeah. So I mean that one that's kind of subjective. So you really can't use that because it's so subjective. I mean, because every team is going to game plan for the other team.
Right.
So what I would say that would be an unfair. We wouldn't even know how to factor that.
You can't say
Now let's say
that's part of the game plan. Now if he breaks he breaks their plan up. He blows their plan apart. Then what does he get for that?
Right. Well, okay, yeah. And so just like in the case of we're talking about defenses, tough defenses versus weak defenses, and we've seen tough defenses get blown out before because obviously the game plan took into account for all the players on the field. Now, but in like the defenses to where everybody's stout, like just example, TJ over in Pittsburgh, balling out of control, man.
What's the guy in San
Making that defense better. Well, if he's out for a week, well, do we change the rating? That's the kind of question we need to ask.
And Bosa in San Diego.
Bosa in San Diego, or the Bosa Jr. in San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco. I mean, but like, and then you look at the Arizona Cardinals just added J.J. Watt along with what's the guy?
I like the addition of
what's the linebacker's name? That's on the other side.
Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones. Okay, now how do you rate anybody going up against that defense now?
Well, that was a very valid question because I loved JJ's aging, and I think this is his way of chasing for a ring, or maybe just getting out of a toxic environment.
I think it's both.
Toxic
I think it's a little bit of
environment.
both.
I don't think
More so the toxic environment. but
More than likely,
Toxic
but
environment.
if he wanted a ring, he could have went any other team.
Yeah, he could have went.
I'm surprised he didn't go to. Well, I mean, I guess
Bay.
Tampa Bay doesn't need him.
They don't
Actually,
need
Green Bay would have used
Green
him.
Bay.
Green Bay.
That's why I thought.
Yeah, we-
All right.
Because he is from.
Well, yeah, and that would have made more.
Right?
Well,
Yeah.
That would've made more
and
sense
he
as
went to
a hometown
Wisconsin.
boy playing,
Wisconsin.
Yeah, he went to the University of Wisconsin, so that would have made sense too.
And then,
But no,
but you look at,
but yeah.
when you look at that Arizona defense now, how do you put and you throw a quarterback
Well,
out there against them?
let's see how they, because look,
You still
you
got
could have
linebackers.
the best operators in the world and still come up short.
Yeah.
Why? If you have too many individuals and not a team, it's not going to matter.
Pittsburgh's Steelers defense.
I mean,
Individuals, not a team.
Well, the Steelers' defense was never the problem. It was the offense. They couldn't score.
yeah.
But the defense kept the game low. They just
Yeah.
couldn't score.
And that was-
Actually, when you think about it, you're right, Chuck. And I apologize, Steelers fans, Larry, not you, James.
Oh, there's a few. There's a few other Steeler fans that watch our podcast.
But I'll say this: they did. They actually did. They did their job. The offense didn't do their job.
Just
No.
And I think if Ben Roethlisberger, I think he wasn't healthy. Was he? He had some.
Well, he was healthy, but I mean, he didn't get
don't
injured
have it.
until later on in the season. Remember, they went on that 11-game streak,
And then all of a sudden they went.
well, yeah, because they started meeting competition. I mean, you were there last year when we even called it the very first game. It's like, look, yeah, they're running solid here, but look at Washington. Washington's defense was outstanding.
Yes.
None of us
No,
ever saw
no,
that
we
coming out
we
of
had doubts about their offense,
Yeah,
but
we
when it
did
came
see
down
that.
to it, we knew that defense could get the job done. And if they took that game too lightly, which they did,
They did, and they did. Alex Smith looked like a god out there. Go figure. But at the end of the day, I think that's a good valid point. The defense, what defense are you playing? Chuck's thing about what
and
what
who are
scheme
the
they running.
and who are they playing?
And who are you
Yeah, because who of the defense is still and is there an injury list?
But see, I have to question this thing about the Jets defense because they were in games.
Oh yeah,
They just didn't win them.
no.
it's the same.
Well, and if you okay, take a look. Last, what was it? 2 years ago when Todd Bowles left,
Yeah.
and he had the Jets playing great defense.
Top 5 defense.
They did not. And that was during when Brady was still in their division.
Yeah.
The only thing that they were suffering with is lack of talent, offensive talent, right? Where they were trying to mold and build up Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And look, if anybody watches ESPN, they know that Greeny, right, loved Mike Greenberg, right, loved Sam Darnold, and was optimistic about what they could do to build around him. And unfortunately, I think what it is they're just seeing maybe a limitation, but I think it's a limitation of offensive weapons. They don't have enough offensive components around him to make that team successful.
Yeah, because
The defense was there. The defense has been there for the last few years.
Defense is a good run stop defense. The problem is they didn't go out and get wide receivers. They'll go get what was the guy from Anderson?
Oh, they went and got LeBlanc too.
Yeah, you will get these.
No, yeah, it wasn't LeBlanc. It was
Are you talking about Le'Veon Bell?
Le'Veon Bell. Yeah.
So you get these players who are questionable. You won't go like there was no reason with all the cap space that they have and the trade they could have made. You could have went and got Julio Jones. You could have went and got a top receiver from another team.
When Hopkins was on the market, you could have got him.
I mean, we didn't know Hopkins was on the market until the trade.
Yeah.
And he's at a point there. We didn't know Hopkins was on.
I know.
You could have got a
And honestly,
big name receiver.
and honestly, would you rather see Hopkins with Sam
I
Darnold
like where he at.
or yeah,
I like
Kyle,
where he at.
I like Kyle Murray. That's
I
a
like
good
where he
matchup.
at.
Arizona's best fit.
I like him.
Like there's a lot of receivers you could have got. You could have just did the receivers, not even work on the offensive line. Could have got receivers. Top they could have went and got Will Fuller. He's decent enough to be a number 2.
Yep.
They could have went and got Brandon Cooks. The receivers the Texans have, if they had it over there with Sam Darnold, I mean,
Well,
I think
and
they'll be in.
I think
I say like
I
this-
think they
this
needed
was
a
said-
solid.
this was
Well, see,
said.
and they didn't even have a solid running game that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
would respect. So I mean, they all they had to do was rush 2 or 3, and
they
on
were
that
stopped-
on
they
that
were-
offense.
Yeah.
So defenses didn't have to do much.
But
That's
I
why they were
said-
able to cover those receivers.
I said this because he brought this Will Fuller thing up, and yet you said Cooks. Texans have all slot receivers. I think Chuck said this.
Yeah.
What the last year since Hopkins, we all have a slot receiver.
Ever since Daniels, right?
Yeah.
Owen Daniels left, you haven't
Owen
really had a
Daniels,
successful
yeah.
tight end.
You haven't
No.
had one. I like the combination of tight ends they put out there, but this only works when you got the combination.
Oh, yeah.
But
Right.
those slot receivers that the Texans have right now, if they're over there in the Jets offense, so you got all 3 of them. You put them all out there at the same time. You don't know what's going to happen. And Sam Darnold has more targets.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, right now
He
Sam
had
Darnold
better- well, I'm
isn't even
saying
there.
He has
Yeah.
better targets.
Well, and of course, because the Jets just basically traded Sam Darnold
to Carolina.
to Carolina.
Yeah.
So we get to see what happens down there. And isn't Ron Rivera still there?
Yeah, wrong. No,
No,
Rivera's in
the
Washington.
Washington.
Oh, that's right. He went to Washington.
Oh,
so
and
who do we have
they
in?
picked Washington to win that division.
It's
by the way.
I wouldn't doubt it.
They had picked Washington to win that division.
The Rule guy,
I
Rule.
wouldn't put it
I
past.
don't want to say Matt Rule.
LaRue or
Rule.
Oh, that guy.
college.
Okay.
Forgot his name. I know his name is Rue. Or
Is
Rule.
Rule. I think
do they still
Matt
have?
something like that.
Do they still have North Turner there as the offensive coordinator?
No, he was gone.
he-
When
he
Cam,
was gone.
he was gone
Cam
before
left?
Cam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was gone before
So
Cam.
basically, Carolina's got all new people now.
Yeah.
All right.
Because remember, North Turner retired in the middle
Oh,
of the
that's
season.
right. That's right.
Which made Cam kind of slide back down, and that was it. That
Yep.
was-
But when you we gonna go with. I'm gonna go with really as the last comment on this, the quarterback rate, QBR rating. We do need to figure out a way to get that defense calculated into that because I
I
guarantee
agree.
it'll change a whole lot of shit for these quarterbacks.
And once
you
we-
can put up all the numbers you want, but if you're throwing against nobody's all the time, like what is it? Like Tom Brady. I'm not to knock him, but his division was weak for a minute. The Texans, the AFC South division, when Andrew Luck was putting up on Peyton Manning put out, that division was weak for a long time.
Jacksonville, even though they had some good defenses here and there, they didn't have an offense that could sustain anything, and so that's how they got beat. You know, when you have an offense that even if they didn't score, they had to settle for a field goal. They're still occupying a lot of game time. So yeah, that's how Peyton Manning's Colts, and let's not forget Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck had the arm, and Hill. It was no, it was was it Tyreek Hill? No, who was Andrew Luck's favorite target?
T.Y. Hilton.
T.Y. Hilton.
T.Y. Hilton, thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, that combination was deadly.
Yeah. It's just like Mahomes and Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Watson and Hopkins when they had
yeah.
not Kyrie and Watson.
Yep.
I mean Kyrie and Hopkins.
Mahomes, Kelsey,
It was
shit like
Dak
that.
and Dez for a minute.
Yeah,
It was
yep.
Drew Brees and any one of his wide receivers at the time.
Well, that was because Breeze could basically
And see, and-
anybody who was open.
And that was
Mahomes
the
didn't get
thing.
on it.
Like when you look at defense, like the Saints gave up so many points, just like Mahomes and give up so many points. But you know, you're putting up 40.
And that's sad too because they were, you know, if you take a look at why the last year that Mahomes and Kansas City gave up all those points because they had to get rid of some of their defensive players.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't afford to keep them on the roster.
Because they bulked up there on the offensive players.
Yeah.
They said, well,
Yeah.
we can't stop nobody. We're gonna outscore everybody.
But then that could sometimes
That
be
could
a
be-
bad
So that-
thing.
like I say,
Kick
when
in the ass.
but see,
Well, I mean, because once again, if you don't stop the run, because the key is to make a team one-dimensional. They're either going to
Yeah,
be pass
pass
happy
it
or
or
run it.
run it.
If they can do both methodically, you've lost.
so I remember in Dallas's heyday, they could throw and run.
Yep.
And when Aikman, Smith, and Irving.
Oh,
were
yeah.
there, you could
Oh,
throw
yeah.
and
Irving,
run.
yeah.
Pittsburgh,
Solidified
you can
with
throw and run. You go way back to the
Yep.
blue area in Houston. Houston can throw and run. Pittsburgh can throw and
Well,
run.
I
They
mean,
were one of the few teams that could
here's
do
a
that.
sad fact. Go back to the time where Schaub put up, 13 wins in a
Yes,
season?
13 wins in
What
a
was that?
season. You can
Four
throw
or
and
5,000
run.
yards?
He put 5,000
Five-
passing yards just in the regular season. That didn't count the postseason.
postseason. Because you can throw and run. You had Andre out there. You had
Yeah.
Aaron Foster up there
Yep,
running.
he was in prime, too.
And then the wide receiver
But-
behind Andre wasn't even.
But
wasn't
hey,
even-
James, remember how I cringed every time he did the naked bootleg?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
You knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming.
You knew
It was
and it still worked. You're like,
yeah, that was Andre, man. That was all Johnson. All Johnson.
Everybody know I'm a Texan fan, but that naked bootleg just scared the crap out of me because I was like, they know it's coming, and they
And
still
still-
ran it.
Yeah,
that
And
was-
if it wasn't Andre Johnson getting it, it was
I-
Owen Daniels.
I blame
You either
Kubiak.
covered one or you covered the other.
I blame Kubiak for that because there's no reason to run that play that many times.
But hey, it worked.
It worked.
I'm gonna run until you stop it.
Yeah,
You said that actually.
I'm
You
gonna
said
run until I
run
see you
until-
stop it.
that's true. I did say that.
Yeah. You run until you stop
But
it.
actually,
All right.
we
I
got
think-
so much history. We got so much history in football. But I say, and I'm gonna go back like you
Endless.
say the Denver Broncos when John Elway won his Super Bowl.
Yes.
you had a passing game
And a
you had
running game.
defense and a running game.
Shannon Sharp.
Nobody could stop it. Nobody could stop either one. If you stop one, the other one took off. If you stop that one, the other one took off. Nowadays, if you
Well-
said, if you shut down one, teams are one dimensional. They can't recover.
Well, it's really hard to be able to play both successfully because if you think about it, if you play close up on the line to stop the run, that exposes you to the slants and the quick outs,
Yeah.
right? Not to mention the deep ball if the receivers get free.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it difficult. You have to have the greatest combination of linebackers in your front line, along with a good safety and corner.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you're exposed.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I have to agree with that. I
That's
can't.
the
I
faster
can't
they
say
can
nothing
read
negative
it,
on
they'll
that
catch
one.
it.
And I watched, like I said, I watched the Steelers defense. Can they stop the run? They stop the pass. They just, like Chuck said, they could not put points up, and I think that was their problem last year.
Yep.
Did they rectify that this year in the draft? Did they rectify that this year in this offseason?
We'll see.
Who knows?
Yeah.
That's crazy. If you look at Matt Schauf's stats between the whole time he was in Houston, you would say he was the top elite quarterback.
yeah.
Quarterback.
That's
How much of that was Andre? I want to say how much of that was Andre?
Johnson and
Oh my
Daniels,
gosh.
though.
I'm looking at the numbers like-
Kubiak's play call.
But see, this is what I'm saying. Numbers are great, and due to numbers, certain
Numbers
players
are a
are
lot.
going to be getting into the Hall of Fame. But then when you take a look at them and try to correlate those numbers, it makes you wonder how much of those passing yards are because Andre Johnson was just that good.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was Aaron Foster catching out of the backfield and running.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The check down.
This is
The check down.
crazy.
And when you have people that can get available, right,
But see, here's
that
what
can
I-
find that opening.
When you said that about the Hall of Fame thing about the yards, how many years was he a starter? Just here in Houston, he was never a starter.
Almost
until he
10
got
years.
here, right?
wasn't quite 10, right? Or was it?
Was he a starter
is
anywhere else other than here?
No, they got him from
We're
Atlanta.
talking about
Yeah,
us?
Houston got him from Atlanta.
Was he a starter there though? That's
No.
what-
No, he was a backup.
Matt Ryan's been there.
Okay, so he's the backup there. He came here he was a starter, and then he went back there. To be
No, he
backup.
wasn't. When he came here, he wasn't the starter.
Who was the
Remember,
quarterback?
it was him, Sage Rosenfeld, and somebody else battling for that position, and he just outbeat them barely, and
Yeah,
he
he was
just
the starter.
No,
his
no,
first
he
game
wasn't.
played,
No,
was
when
the
he
starter.
first came here, it was him, Sage Rosenfeld, and it was another quarterback. Remember, because
So they were fighting for
they were
position?
fighting for the
Okay.
position. He just outbeat them barely
during
and
the
then-
season or during
during the
preseason?
season.
Okay, I always thought
Because
he was-
Okay,
no, he wasn't always the starter. They traded for him here, and I remember that because Sage Rosenfeld. It was that game where they hiked the
Oh
ball.
yeah, Sage Rosenfeld started 2 games and then Schaub came in.
Yeah,
and he
like
just
remember
started
Sage
from
Rosenfeld
there.
hiked the ball and he dropped it. It was like how do you drop the ball and all you did was take 2 steps back, and then that's when he got kicked out and Matt Schaub came in and Matt Schaub did the same thing. It was whatever that was.
See, that would have been before my time that I actually started
Oh
paying
my gosh,
attention.
it was horrible. It was just horrible to watch those games.
No, trust me, it was hard enough for me to watch the ones that he was winning. So I mean,
Yeah.
I can only imagine. But anyway, so yeah, hey, we would love your comments on this and recommendations. And when we do get this fine tuned, trust us, we will let you know and bring you what we have come to agree upon as far as calculating QB. How about experience? So years of experience taking consideration, because then you would be comparing what
Veterans record.
2-year rookie to
Veterans.
a veteran like Fitzpatrick.
Okay,
Oh,
Mahomes got lucky his semi sophomore year because he was actually essentially a rookie, but he was a sophomore. At
Yeah,
the
it's
time.
true.
And he gets lucky with most of his throws, so I can't really say experience because
But he can scramble as well.
it doesn't matter.
Well,
He
and
throws
then-
the ball up in there. He got Tyreek Hill and all these guys going up jump
I-
everybody for the ball, man.
And that is a valid point. I'm looking forward to when all of a sudden these high dollar talent have to go somewhere else because they
And
don't
play.
exactly.
You know, without
What-
that
what
bailout.
is-
without
what
that
is
bailout,
he
that
gonna
safety net
do,
you
and
got.
how is he gonna
Oh,
bounce
yeah.
back when he has to basically get on a rapport with a rookie?
Well, or you can go like this here. You have Tom Brady left the Patriots, went over to Tampa Bay, new wide receivers, knew everything.
Yep.
What he did.
Now, but in the defense though,
But-
you take a look at him. He's been kind of struggling over there because of the lack of talent. Not really lack of talent, is they didn't have marquee talent.
Yeah.
They didn't have
had
receivers.
Mike Evans.
They didn't have. But
Well,
I'm
he
talking
had-
about
he
New
had his
England.
buddy,
I'm talking about New
Gronkowski,
England,
though.
right?
in New England.
In New England, he didn't
struggling.
really have top
Because
receivers.
as Chuck would say, Belichick don't waste a lot of don't spend.
No, he doesn't
on,
spend a
on
lot.
names.
So because he's a firm believer and he gets his team to play as a team.
Yeah.
Okay. So now Brady is coming from that environment.
Is he the better coach out of everybody that he can get his players always? Yeah, you guys are not at the top tier, but I get you guys.
Hey,
Super Bowl.
it's as simple as this: if you get a group of guys that want to have the same goal, right? And you got to basically look. You either pull your weight, or I'm sorry, I'm going to have to move on.
Yeah.
Right. You're gone. I'm going to have to find somebody else that can do the job. So then that drives them, but it's not a bad drive. Yeah. It's actually a good drive because why? You want to be that guy. You want to be the guy that they can depend on. Right. So that's the way it's presented. It's not like a detriment of if you don't get this pass, I'm going to cut you type of thing. No, it's like if you can play your part and look. An instant forget. If you had a bad moment, forget it. On to the next one. Right. That's what Belichick basically thrives on. That's what he wins on.
And I think that's Tom Brady also.
Yeah, well, that's why Brady did it.
They say quarterbacks have to have a short memory.
Yeah.
They have to let that.
As soon as
I think Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees were those quarterbacks that Troy Aikman.
Yep.
Really
take a look, John. Just go back, watch some old games. Right. The true test of any quarterback, right, is the one that can get back on the horse after an interception. Yep. Because what happens when they throw that interception? When they throw that interception, what happens? They have to go sit on the bench.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You know what they're doing? They're bringing them the little laptop, right, or their Surface Pro, and they're looking at the
so next time
the defense and the defensive look that they're given, and then they're trying to figure out what did I miss? What did I miss? And then every good quarterback, what does he do? He throws an easy pass just to get back on the horse. Yeah. He doesn't go deep because what does that do? That forces mistakes. Yeah. Good quarterbacks come out, hit the check down man, hit the slants, hit the quick outs, good, quick, easy passes.
Get about 4 or 5 in a row
to get their confidence back. Every single good quarterback does that.
Yep, that's true. That is true.
All right, anybody? I think we got a good segment in here.
We didn't get the introduction in. I'm sorry, but
we can always do that later.
We can throw it in. I'm gonna throw it in now at the end. This is Half Baked Sports. I'm John. That's Big Man Josh right there. That's Chuck in the middle. We got Kendall over here on my side. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe,
and share.
Half Baked.
We're out.